I hope you're well. Of course, thank you so very much for joining me today. In Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9 we read, "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." Verse 10 says, "As we therefore have opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith." Paul touches on something that we all face. He says, let us not grow weary, let us not be weary in well-doing. Christians' life should be filled with good actions, not that we can earn our way into heaven, but those things should be the product, the fruit of being a Christian. As I mentioned in a video from a while back, I don't remember exactly when, but I said that we should do those things because it is our nature, not because we might necessarily benefit from it, not because, oh, I'll get recognized for it, but simply because it is our nature to do those things. And again, I'll remind you of a grapevine. It does not get to enjoy the grapes that it produces, but it keeps producing those grapes simply because it is the vine's nature. The same should be true with the Christian, that yes, I'm going to do good things because it is my nature, not necessarily because I get to enjoy them as of right now. So Paul says, let us not be weary in well-doing. Let us not grow tired in well-doing. Again, Christian's life should be filled with those good things, with those things that we've done that are good to do. Of course, well-doing, he says, so those things like charity, things like kindness, meekness, humility, etc., etc. And the idea here is that as humans, we will, it is inevitable, grow weary, grow tired in doing those things. Or at least there's a risk of that. And Paul realizes that. Of course, through inspiration of the Holy Spirit writes, let us not be weary. In other words, you might feel a little tired, but don't let that make you sit down and say, hey, there's no way, it's not worth it, whatever the saying may be. He says, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Yes, we might be tired for a little bit, but there's no excuse to stop. That's no excuse to say, nope, I'm done. There's no point. Paul says we will reap our reward in due season. That's not today necessarily. It's not next week necessarily. That's not next month, not next year, not the next decade necessarily. It's just in due season we shall reap of the things that we have done. And that's the idea. Yes, do those good things. Yes, you might feel weary every once in a while, but do not sit down and stop. Do not let that weariness defeat you. If you do feel weary, the case might be right now that you're saying, well, I'm tired. There's no point. I'd like to encourage you, keep on doing those things. Keep on doing good to those around you, to yourself, to others, whatever the case may be, because at some point, maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but at some point, Paul writes, we will reap our reward if we faint not. So, he says in verse 10, as we have an opportunity to do good, do it to all men, especially to those who are of the household of faith. I'd like to thank you so very much for joining me today, and I certainly hope to see you Wednesday. Thank you.